With the state Republican convention quickly approaching, secessionists will be once again making an effort to add a provision to the Leave the Union. Yeah, it's a plank possibly in the party platform.
Our Austin Kempker on the movement and if it has any legs to stand on.
There's a lot of frustration out here in West Texas, and I would argue all of Texas, about the way the federal government is running, about their health care. And so a lot of people believe that the federal government has way overstepped their bounds on fiscal and social issues.
The U.S. fought a civil war over the rights of states to secede from the Union. Now there's a fight in Texas to decide whether we have the right to become a sovereign nation once again. Daniel Miller, the president of the Texas Nationalist Movement, says it's time to have the discussion over who the right people are to lead Texas.
We believe that the best people to govern Texas are Texans. And what we have seen over the decade that we have been engaged as an organization in this fight is that more and more Texans are coming to that realization. So much so that in this latest campaign, we've already had over 257,000 people pledge to vote yes, and that number grows by the hour.
Miller and the TNM have led the fight for a better part of the decade. This past fall, the group failed in its efforts to have the issue added to the March GOP primary ballot. Despite that failure, those who are in favor of secession are targeting the Texas Republican Convention in May to add the language to the party platform that would support independence.
If all roads for getting and winning a binding vote on Texas independence lead through the legislature, then you've got to go, you have to go at that angle of the party in which they support. And what we want to do in adding this to the Republican platform is essentially codify, put in writing, what the majority of Republicans, the sentiments that they already express.
According to the TNM, more than half of the state's Republicans support an independent Texas. Lubbock County Republican Chairman Carl Tepper says this move makes sense and could even have a chance of passing in the convention.
Let's say probably a 40% chance of the convention advocating for a platform change or a platform addition of a Texas sovereignty rule or law, some kind of language, advocating that way. It's non-binding. It's what the Republican Party thinks. It's not a legislative process. That would come from the Texas legislature.
Even with the possibility of it becoming part of the platform, Fox 34 legal analyst Curtis Parrish says the odds of secession are minimal at best due to the legality.
This Supreme Court case, Texas versus White in 1869, really kind of laid out two ways in order for a state to secede, either by revolution, which is like the Civil War, and we of course know how that turned out, or by consent of the states. If Congress, if the majority of members of Congress of the states get together and say, we don't want this state to be in the Union anymore, then the Union can be dissolved that way to that state, and then it become a independent nation or to secede.
Tepper says it's a fun conversation to have.
It seems to be talk at the grocery store, coffee bar, and it's fun to talk about. It's fun to remember our heritage as an independent nation, but I think we're better off as one of the 50 states.
Now, the state Republican convention will take place next week in Dallas. I'm Austin Kempker, Fox 34 News at 9.